Alright everyone, welcome back. Only Shinji reacts to those words. Rin just glares at the priest, gnashing her teeth. The priest's smile already told her that she was going to die here. She knows that no help is coming, and that no one would hear her even if she begged for help. So she absolutely refuses to snivel. It's the only form of resistance she can offer, and it represents her defiance. She won't give up until the very end. Help might still come at the last possible second, or a miracle might even occur, like something that destroys the entire room, leaving only her intact. She won't give up, but she knows what she isn't possible. That's why she isn't very scared. There's just one thing that she's worried about. It's awkward to imagine what face he'll make when he comes to save her after she's dead. She doesn't want to make him cry. It pisses her off thinking that she'll make him cry and she doesn't know how to apologize for it. Of course she can't apologize if she's dead, but she still doesn't want him to cry. So she apologizes now, while she still can. It doesn't matter, but it at least makes her feel more at ease. The priest has no mercy. However, Lancer answers Rin's enemy with defiance. The priest narrows his eyes. Master and servant glare daggers at each other, and the temperature in the room seems to drop. The priest lifts his left arm. He activates the command spells inscribed on it. Lancer coughs blood, but the red droplets that dribble from his mouth pale in comparison to the torrent of blood gushing from his chest. His murmur can't be heard. Lancer has stabbed himself to the chest with his own spear, completely destroying his heart. The azure armored spearman collapses to the floor. Pooling scarlet seeps into the floor. Lancer shows no sign of getting up. He has fallen by his own spear on his master's orders. The priest moves. He approaches Rin with easygoing steps and takes a knee next to her. He reaches out with a hand to the bound girl's chest as if to pluck her heart out. The priest glances at Shinji without answering. Shinji whines, his back to Lancer's corpse. But his protests die off. The boy cowers away from the priest's severe gaze. The priest looks back down at the girl. A simple concession. Rin answers him in her usual tone. He doesn't hesitate. The priest roughly shoves his hand into the girl's chest over where her heart would be. She closes her eyes. There's a stabbing sound. A heart is pierced and blood spills out. The stone room becomes a tomb for yet another dead body. Rin is the one who gasps. The floor is drenched in blood. The dripping comes from somewhere high up. From the floor, Rin looks up to see that it's coming from the priest's chest. The blood rises from his esophagus. The hole in his chest is obviously a fatal one. And the thing that stabbed him from behind is none other than the cursed spear known especially for piercing. The priest feels no emotion. He simply looks at Lancer behind him, blood running from his mouth.
Lancer, 貴様。あいにくだったな、ことみね。この程度でくたばれるんならよ。俺は英雄になんぞなってね。
And this is why Lancer's cool, everyone. Lancer's sardonic tone clearly sounds like a bluff. There isn't a hint of vitality in it. Without a heart, his body is already starting to fade. He pulls his spirit off Kotomine, who collapses lifelessly to the ground. Trained in the arcane and blessed by the divine, he might have been, but he was still only human. There was no surviving a thrust of the heart from Lancer's cursed spear.
たく、結局こうなったか、たけ。
Lancer leans his crumbling body against the wall, but it buys him a little time. After collapsing once, he's bound to disappear for good. He's lost his heart and his master. The only reason his body is somehow still holding together is because of his legendary tenacity.
いいじゃんいいじゃん。バカどもは勝手に殺し合ってたよ。
シンジ。
Shinji's cackling brings Rin back to her senses after watching the priest die.
何が聖杯は君のものだ。だよ。役立たずは最後まで役立たずだったな、神父さん。
Shinji kicks the priest's body. He doesn't move at all. Pleased with himself, the boy kicks the priest's face as hard as he can, making a dry crunching noise. The sound sensation delights Shinji more than he expected.
けど文句は言わないでおくよ。さっきのことは根に持ってないし、死んじゃったやつにあれこれ言うのはみっともないしさ。
Shinji sneakers. Having lost all reservations, he closes in on Rin eagerly.
待たせたね、遠坂。いろいろ邪魔が入ったけど、これでようやく二人きりだ。残るサーバントもあと3人。ここで君が泣き疲れた頃には全部型がついてるさ。
Shinji scrambles forward on all fours like a lizard looming over Rin.
けどよかった。お前にはいろいろ用があったんだ。ほんと困るよ、遠坂。簡単に死なれちゃあさ。ここまで我慢してきた僕に申し訳がないってもんだろ。さあ、こびてみろよ、遠坂。お前の態度次第で助けてやらないこともないぜ。それに聖杯はもう僕のものだ。ここで僕のものになるって言うなら、お前にだって分けてやっても。
呆れた。本当にバカじゃないの、あんた。
Tied up and on the ground, Rin scoffs like she's talking to a child.
なんだって？
まだ懲りないのかって言ってるのよ、シンジ。あんたは綺麗にいいように使われてただけでしょ。いい？あのサーバントは扱いきれるものじゃない。そんなこと近くにいるんだからあんただって分かってるでしょ。ならいい加減目を覚ましてこんな殺し合いから手を引けっていうの。今ならまだ間に合うのはそっちの方よ。死にたくなかったら1秒でも早くここから逃げ出しなさい。
何を言い出すかと思えば結局は命乞いじゃんか。バカはお前だよ、遠坂。 目障りな琴峰は死んだんだぜ。今さら何が僕の邪魔をするって言うんだ。
Shinji reaches for Rin's body, but the second he does,
おい
he goes flying for a second time. Good. Shinji slams into the wall again.
ガキがそいつはてめえなんかが触れていい女じゃね
Lancer glances at Shinji and lazily walks over to Rin.
何、死に損ないの分際で僕に意見しようっていうの？
The spearman stops. He turns and faces Shinji.
おとなしく寝ていれば苦しまずに死ねたってのにな。さっきといい今度といい、お前楽には殺さないからな。ほら出番だぜギルガメッシュ。こいつカッコつけて死にたいんだってさ。
Shinji raises his voice. He calls for his servant, the mightiest slayer of heroes.
おい、なんだよ、何やってんだよあいつ。聞こえないのか？早く来いって言ってるだろ。
His voice rings out. The golden servant does not appear. The bloody blue spearman takes a step toward Shinji.
くそくそくそくそくそ。なんだよお前、死に損ないのくせに何かっこつけてんだよ。消えろよ。目障りだってわかんないのかよこの化け物。
A strike whips out. A single precise strike like a flash of light stabs Shinji in the right shoulder. His scream fills the room. Lancer withdraws his spear, looking bored. He puts his face in front of
え
Shinji's.
死に損ないでもな、お前程度なら1000人殺したところで支障はない。
Hugging the wall and cowering away from the spear pointed at him, Shinji leaves the room in a mad scramble.
たく無駄な体力使わせやがって。
With a heavy sigh, Lancer walks back over to Rin. The wind-cutting spear severs her bindings like tissue paper.
ありがとう。助かったわ、ランサー。
Rin thanks him for her freedom. She bows to Lancer, ignoring the filth around them.
ま、成り行きだからな。礼を言われる筋じゃねえ。
Suddenly, he collapses limply.
ランサー？
Rin can't catch him in time. Lancer's too weak to even lean against the wall now, and he slumps to the ground. His legs won't move. His limbs are already long dead. It seems nonsensical that he managed to stand up, kill his master, and set Rin free. A sudden cough of blood stains his blue armor further.
待ってて、すぐに傷を塞ぐから。
Rin rushes over to the bloody spearman, but he stops her with a hand.
無駄だ。俺のゲイボルクで破壊された心臓は簡単には治らん。だいたいな、そんな余分なマルカ残ってねえだろお前。
けどそれじゃあ。
まあ気にするな。こういうのには慣れてる。英雄ってのはな、いつだって理不尽な命令で死ぬものなんだからよ。
His easygoing tone is the same as it always is. Even seconds away from death, the spearman doesn't change the way he acts. Man, I wonder if he ever had like a good master. I think the only ones he had and they died early was Bizet. Ren stands up wordlessly. Seeing that, Lancer breathes a sigh of relief, as if a weight was lifted from his
い
shoulders.
や、お互いつまんねえ相棒を引いちまったな。
そうね。けど私のはつまんないっていうより扱いづらいだけだったかな。
違いない。お前のような女が相棒だったら言うことはなかったんだが、あいにく昔っからいい女とは縁がなくてな。まったくこればっかりは何度繰り返しても治らねえみてえだ。
He chuckles dryly, and then,
さあ早く行け。こいつは俺が連れて行く。お前はお前の相棒のところに戻らないと。
the spearman urges the girl to leave. He prepares Ansus, the fire rune in his hand. As soon as he inscribes it on the ground and charges it with all of his remaining magical energy, it will burn the entire room to cinders. Rin understands his determination and turns to leave.
さよならランサー。短い間だったけど、私もあなたみたいな人は好きよ。
She runs off to the great hall.
小娘がもうちょっと年取って出直してこい。
Goodbye, Lancer, you mighty badass. A hearty guffaw escapes his lips. Flames engulf him. The blaze consumes Lancer and his master's body. Not a trace is left behind. Like a mirage, the crimson spear and azure armor disappear into the flames. Identical swords clash. Shirou, Emiya, and the man's attacks are completely equal. Yet each time they clash, my blades break and I'm wounded badly. I'm cut deeply by attacks I should have intercepted. His concho shatters my concho and cuts me open in a sidelong slash. I desperately try to avoid the strike, but I can't. The wound isn't fatal, but it lacerates my muscles and will probably become a critical injury. Bite back the pain and try to knock the enemy's Bakui out of his right hand. He shatters my weapon and blocks me there too. Our swords and skills should be the same, but I'm facing an insurmountable wall.
お前の感想と俺の感想が同等とでも思ったか。お前はまだまだ基本コスの想定が甘い。いかにイメージ通りの外見材質を保とうが構造に利がなければ崩れるのは当然だ。イメージといえど筋が通ってなければ瓦解する。
Simultaneously, he unleashes attacks to cut open my flank and my forehead. I immediately project a pair of swords to parry with. I have a headache so bad it nearly blinds me. It isn't from the burn of the projection. It's that headache from before. The hunch I had when I was looking for Tosaka. The fever I get every time I face him. This time is the greatest burden yet, and it's driving my body crazy. I fend off slash after slash. I attempt to cut him down in return. And each time, the red headache burns my eyes. Is it the contradiction of Shirou Emiya and heroic spirit Emiya existing at the same time? Since the moment we recognized each other, my body has felt off every time we made contact. I traced his swordsmanship and even acquired his replication skills. It makes sense that I picked it up quickly. After all, his skills are the most optimal combat techniques for Shirou Emiya, honed over the years of experience. How can I not take to them quickly? In trying to catch up to him, I've learned things about my future self that I shouldn't have. My eyes go numb. Each swing of a sword, each shower of sparks creates flashes of light, robbing me of my vision. My skills can't keep up and each attack dyes my vision red. I wouldn't mind if that's all this was. My body's already torn to shreds. A headache is nothing compared to the feeling of having my stomach torn open with a branding iron. The problem is the headache won't stop as long as there's something else to draw it out from him.
都合5本目だな。投影による複製ではそろそろ限界か。お前の魔力量はよくわかっている。そのざまでは残り3本。わざわざあれを見せてやったというのに、未だそんな勘違いをしているとはな。
I hear a hint of disappointment in his taunts. The wrong idea. As if that matters right now. More importantly, I need to do something about this headache. It's coming from you.
ともあれ、 至ったところで不可能ではあるか。今のエミやシローが生成できる魔力では足りない。そう、どちらにせよ。
My headache worsens. He brandishes his swords as if to settle this once and for all.
貴様に賞賛など一部たりともなかったということだ。
And brings his swords down on my head in a crisscross slash. I raise my swords to defend, and they shatter. My body goes numb like it's been pounded with a sledgehammer, and the headache burns. Not just my eyeballs, but my brain. It's flowing in. So, this, right now, is even scarier than the pain. They're his memories. The reason he's changed so much. I'm seeing fragments of the events that Shirou and Emiya will experience in the future. I don't know if they're right or wrong. I'm sure nobody can be judged of that. Beautiful things were ugly, and ugly things were beautiful. Objectively, there was nothing repulsive about them. So what made him go astray? Sophistry? Misrepresentation? Treachery? Narcissism? Those make up most of what I saw. I am the bone of my sword. And yet he didn't seem to mind. He swore oaths and had ideals to uphold. He didn't care what he lost. Even if others betrayed him, he believed that there would be a future as long as he didn't betray himself. If he never complained or even showed himself getting hurt. Steel is my body, and fire is my blood. Then to the people around him, he was no different from a machine. He was useful to have around, so they used him. They only saw him as a tool. Even a machine can have ideals to uphold, so he accepted being treated as a convenient tool. I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, nor known to life. It wasn't something he could tell anyone else. The more he failed to save people, and the more people he killed, the less he could profess his ideals. Eventually, his only option was to stick to them as resolutely as he could. The result? Shirou Emiya failed to uphold the ideals he dreamed of even once, and learned that he was a nuisance spouting foolish drivel. Had withstood pain to create weapons. Look, this was his fate. Look, this is where you'll end up. My heart breaks. Don't feel sorry for him. 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 But my heart feels like it's gonna break when I know that this is the path that awaits me. Yet those hands will never hold anything. Everything you believed in. Everything you believe in. After you were shown that it was all a lie and a fanciful dream, you still. We clash again. This time, he comes straight for my heart, not with the dual swords, but some spike-like sword. I retreat to gain some distance. I'm holding a sword I replicated in the spur of the moment. I fight against the nausea. What did I just see? Forget it. Forget you saw anything. I just need to defeat him now. I can't afford to do on anything else.
計算違い。前世の自分を考慮、憑依させることで、かつての技術を習得する魔術があると聞くが、俺と打ち合うたびに、お前の技術は鍛えられていくようだな。
Panting, I ready myself for his next strike.
となると、引き出したものは投影技術だけではあるまい。その顔、今にも吐きそうな最低の面構えからすると、 お前も見た。
He holds his breath. Don't make me say it. Don't make me remember. If you tell me what I just saw, I...
ならば話は早い。それは全て事実だ。エミヤしろ。
The red cloak flutters. In an instant, he closes the gap and thrusts the spike at me. My weapon is destroyed in one blow. A sword I hastily projected for the first time can't hold up against his weapons. And yet, he throws aside his weapon while I'm unharmed. The next projection is Durandal, said to be the sword of conquerors. I skip 4 counts and instantly project a replica of his weapon. Of course, my imitation's broken with one attack. I've fallen. I was pushed back and fell backwards onto the rubble. And then I'm surprised. Just that fall was enough to stain the rubble red. Huh? I just never noticed that my body's dead, both inside and out.
そこまでだ。叶わないと知ってなおここに現れる愚かさ。生涯くだらぬ理想にとらわれ、自らの意志を持たなかったまがいもの。それが自身の正体だと理解した。
His voice resounds. I'm covered in wounds. Each of them is deep enough to sink a finger into. I'm seriously screwed.
そんなものに生きている価値はない。何よりこの俺が確信しているのだ。エミやシロウという男の人生に価値などない。ただ救いたいから救うなど、そもそも感情として間違えている。人間として交渉したお前は、初めからあってはならない偽物だった。
I have almost no magical energy left. To make matters worse, my magic circuits are burning. They've been burning since yesterday's projection, actually. Something that I was about to break is now completely broken. That's all. My body protests that it can still fight. I've just been playing tough, pretending that my broken heart is whole. So, I need to stand up and beat him.
無駄なこと。俺はお前の理想だ。叶うはずなどないと、今ので理解できたはずだが。
I invest what remains of my consciousness into all my circuits. My nerves splinter and scream. Within myself, I weave together 8 counts without skipping a beat. I acquire his dual swords, Kancho and Bakia, a pair of masterworks forged by an ancient smith. I swing. I'll keep attacking over and over with all my remaining strength until I burn out. Dual swords need dual swords to intercept them. Archer switches weapons to Kancho and Bakia, then defends against my combo without taking a single step back.
そうか。認めるわけにはいかないのは道理だな。俺がお前の理想である限り、エミやシロウは誰よりも俺を否定しなければならない。
His calm words piss me off. He just keeps quipping at me while I can hardly even breathe. I attack desperately. He locks our swords together without parrying me. I'm being pushed back, weapons and all. There's a vast gap in our physical strength. I don't have a chance of winning a pushing match.
では聞くがな、シロウ。
A pushing match is what I meant to say.
お前は本当に正義の味方になりたいと思っているのか？
For an instant, the sudden question makes my mind go blank.
何を今さら？俺はなりたいんじゃなくて絶対になるんだよ！